Welcome to Chemistry 1 at East Central High School with teacher Mr. Nick Lawrence. This is a quick video to show you the important things about the class, how it will operate, and some things that you need to make sure you accomplish so that you can be in tune and successful in Chemistry 1. First thing you need to know is that Chemistry 1 is a college prep class. You are taking this class because you plan or are thinking about going to college. So as you take this class, understand that there will be a tough curriculum that I will be here to help you overcome, but will require a decent amount of effort on your part, some organizational skills, and a desire to want to learn. We will start with Google Classroom. This will be a foundational part of how the class will operate. First thing you need to do is go to Google Classroom and sign in by clicking on the plus sign. The class code to join my Google Classroom is shown here, UVS94Y8. Type in that code into this plus sign where it says create join class, and you will now enter into Mr. Lawrence Chemistry. Pause the video until you have that done. Now once we click on that classroom, you will see a couple things. You will see stream, classwork, and people. Classwork will be all the assignments that I will post that you will need to accomplish throughout the year. There will be videos here to watch. There will be homework to complete. Here will be the people in your class. If you ever have to get a hold of me or a classmate, this will have a list. Under classwork, you also have stream next to it. This will be general class announcements. And the first thing I would like to point out is what we accomplished on the first day. A lot of these items I'm going to be covering in this video for those of you who missed it, or in case parents want to be caught up and up to date with what's going on. A few things below to point out. We have our syllabus. As you look at the syllabus and you click on the link, it will open up and give you a chance to read what I handed out in class. So if you lose your course syllabus, which you should not lose because it will be in your binder, you can still find it here, or parents, you can find this information. You have my email address. You have my YouTube channel, which will be accessible through YouTube, or I will actually post my videos onto Google Classroom. Here is the course material for the year. This is what students need to have in class when they come. The one thing here is that parents need to make sure they go and purchase a binder for your student. A 1-inch binder will work. If students are already carrying a binder for the other classes, that will be fine as well, but students do need to have a binder because I will be giving them several sheets of paper throughout the year that they must hold on to as reference, and we need to keep that in a safe place. Part of this class will be laboratory. So for the lab, students need to have a parent-student contract signed and filled out, and this needs to be turned in by Friday. Students were given this in class, but parents, please make sure that you read through here with your students and you sign with your student that they will act mature and be safe when they're in the laboratory. Again, this is due Friday. This form can also be found under the classwork. Right here where it says lab contract, if you click here, you can view the assignment. Since this is due on Friday, I made an assignment as well. If I go back to stream, I can see all my options, and we already opened the syllabus. So as I look at the syllabus, a few things to point out. Homework is due when the bell rings. If students are turning in physical homework, they must turn it into the tray with the appropriate period. If they are turning it in online, they will submit it through Google Classroom, which I will show you in a minute. I will accept late homework, but if it is late, it will be given half credit. So again, students, prepare your homework and have it completed before class begins. It should be in the tray when the bell rings, because if it is turned in after the bell rings, it is considered late. Chemistry is a college prep class, and so you actually have to learn the material. Because of that, the grades are based on mostly how you do on the test. Your overall grade will be given based upon how you do on the test with a weighted consideration of 60%. 15% of your grade will be lab, 15% will be your homework, and 10% will be mastery quizzes, which I will speak more about mastery quizzes here in a minute. Final exam and semester grade are school policies. You can look those up in your agenda, but there will be a semester exam, and that semester exam will count for 15% of students' overall grade. There's a zero policy for cheating. Students do need their Chromebooks in class, and if they do not bring their Chromebooks, it will result in an after-school detention. Students, it is important that you bring a charged Chromebook to school every day, as all your teachers are instructed to use them at least 60% of the time throughout the year. Mastery quizzes is something that students may be new to students. A mastery quiz is different than a normal quiz because it is a quiz that students must pass to show that they have perfected or mastered the material. Chemistry is a class that builds on itself, and so in order for students to be able to accomplish Chapter 2, 3, 4, or 5, they must have perfected Chapter 1. And before they can do Chapter 3, they have to perfect Chapter 2. So mastery quizzes will be given. If you go back to the classroom, you can pull up the chemistry mastery chart, and you will see that there are 11 mastery quizzes students will take throughout the year. In order for a student to pass a mastery quiz, they must get a 40% or an 80% of that quiz correct to pass it. So for example, the density quiz will have 5 questions. Students must get 4 of those 5 right questions correct to pass that quiz. If they pass that quiz on their first attempt, they will get 100%. If students fail to get 4 out of 5 questions right on that first attempt, they will be given a second attempt. That second attempt will be done on the student's time, either during lunch or before school or after school. And again, they'll take a very similar quiz again, and they will have to get 4 out of the 5 problems correct. If they get 4 out of the 5 problems correct, then they will be given a 90% in the gradebook. If they do not get 4 out of 5 questions correct on the second attempt, they'll have to be given a third and final attempt. If they again achieve at least an 80% of mastery, then they will be given an 80% in the gradebook. Parents, after 3 attempts, if your student does not get an 80% or higher, then they will receive a 0 for that quiz and show that they have not mastered the content. Parents, this is a great way to track. All your students have their own chart to track their progress. And so parents, as they take that first attempt, if they are not passing it, that's where you need to step in and really make sure they are prepared for their second and or third attempt. All of that, mastery quizzes, will be worth 10% of the grade. So over the first semester, those 11 quizzes will come together to perform 10% of the grade. And again, mastery quizzes are just the basic items students must understand how to do based upon state standards so they can be successful in the later materials as we go into the higher chapters and the higher units. On here also, you will notice a test makeup. Test makeup, I will allow students to retake 1 test per 9 weeks. If a student just for some reason did not do well on a test, they were either immature and did not prepare, or they just had some major stuff going on in their life, if they submit to me a 100-word essay, I will allow each student to take 1 test over again per 9 weeks. Again, the student just needs to write a 100-word essay telling me why they will do better and what were the circumstances leading up to the retake. One last note I want to point out on here, as students read through this on their own, is that there will be no electronic devices used in the classroom unless students are given permission. In my room, I will have a picture of a cell phone on my board that will either be in red or green. If that red cell phone is out, students know that they are not allowed to have their cell phones out. If the cell phone is green on my chalkboard, then students are allowed to listen to music as they work on material in class, or we are done with the day and they can use their cell phone to check grades or to do whatever. And again, for me, I'm going to treat your student with respect, and I'm going to give them the freedom to control their own behavior because I think that's going to prepare them for college. And so students, learn to live with your cell phone as an aid to your education, not a distraction. One last comment I want to make is about the flipped classroom. A flipped classroom is where some of the teaching is caught at home. This year, I'll be doing a flipped classroom for the first time. So just like this video, majority of the class lessons are going to be watched online at home. The idea behind this is I'm going to create a 10 to 15 minute video, much like the video you're watching now, with the core and important subject matters and content that students need to know. So a student's homework that night will be to go home and watch that 10 to 15 minute video. After a student watches that 10 to 15 minute video, they will take an online survey/quiz, much like the survey quiz I'm going to show you in a second. That online quiz is going to have a few questions in there that they need to answer correctly based on the video, and there will also be questions in there giving students a chance to say, hey, I did not catch this. Hey, Mr. Lawrence, can you please reteach this tomorrow? After a student watches the video, after I gather the data from the survey, that next day in class, we will reteach and we will expand on the materials, and then students will have time to work on homework and other labs in class with me being available to answer questions. So the flipped classroom is a great resource to eliminate those long nights at homes where students and parents are battling to do homework, when students have questions that parents can't answer, and we're trying to eliminate that frustration and create more time in class for students to ask the teacher instructions. So I hope you'll find this very useful, but parents, again, you need to make sure your students are watching the video. They will not get credit on those quizzes if they do not watch the videos, but yet they'll still have to watch the videos to catch that material because it will be your students' responsibility to take care of their own education and to watch those videos on their own time. The last thing I need to show you is the ability to turn in classwork and watch videos. You will find your video posted in this homework section, and you'll also find things like surveys. This is a welcome survey that students need to answer on the first day of class, or they can answer after watching this video. Once a student is ready to take this survey, or once they've watched a homework video, they will click on the survey button. A link will show up. This link will take you to a Google form. This Google form will allow students to type in answers, and after they type in those answers, they can submit it. This Google form was written so that I can know more about your student and know more about their ability to enjoy science, or how much they like math, or how well the internet connection is at your house. This is going to be very similar format to what students are going to take after they watch an instructional video over lesson 1-1, which they will see here on Thursday evening. So again, students, after you watch the instructional video, you will come to a survey like this. You will fill out all the answers to the best of your ability, and then you will hit submit. These are the basics for our class. If you have any questions, again, parents, please do not hesitate to email me. As you see here, I'm looking forward to a great year of chemistry. I hope all is well, and I look forward to seeing your students again tomorrow. Have a blessed day.